Hey Double Dip Babes! In this tutorial, I'm going to show you one of the quickest ways to apply polygel using the Lazy Girl method by Femi Beauty. I am using some products from the Bella Vena Fresh Start Polygel Kit. I am using the color 168, the polygel tool, the base coat, the sculpting solution, and the mini UV LED lamp. You will need some full cover nail tips, so I'm using the Bella Vena jelly tips. These are the coffin long. The first step is to size out your jelly tips. You want the jelly tip to go from sidewall to sidewall. If you are in between sizes, I would definitely recommend to size up. You don't want the jelly tip to be too big, but for this method, you will be putting the polygel on the inside of the nail tip. So you do need a little bit of room within your jelly tip. Once all of your sizes are picked out, you want to make sure that your nails are prepped. To prep your nails, push your cuticles back, file the shine away from your natural nail, and apply the base gel to your nail and cure for 1 minute. This is how you prep your nail for the Lazy Girl method. I'm going to start by taking the sculpting solution and pour a little bit into the cap. You can also use a different dish if you would like. The polygel color that I'm using is 168 from the Fresh Start Polygel Nail Kit. You may want to prep your brush by dipping it into the sculpting solution. If you try out this method and you notice the nail tips are popping off of the polygel like a dual form, you may want to file the inside of the nail tip. However, I never noticed this, so I completely skipped this step. You're going to start by taking the polygel and squeeze it into the full cover nail tip. You don't need to apply a whole lot of polygel, but you do want enough to fully cover the nail tip. Take the polygel brush dipped in the sculpting solution and start spraying out the polygel within the jelly tip. Want to make sure you have a good color coverage for the nail, but make sure not to have too much product around the sides and cuticle area. Once the polygel is spread out, you're going to place this onto your nail. You want to push down and make sure that it's in the correct place for your nail. Then you're going to take the polygel brush and clean up around the cuticle and sidewall areas. If you have way too much polygel come out, this means that you applied too much polygel in your jelly tip. After the cuticle area is clean, you're going to flip your hand over and smooth out the underside of the nail. You'll want to take your finger and hold down the nail tip so it doesn't come off of your nail. You want to do this step very thoroughly, as it's nearly impossible to use a hand file to file the underside of your nail. If you have an e-file, you can use a very small drill bit to file the underside of the nail. After the cuticle and back of the nail are clean, you want to make sure that the nail tip is applied straight with your finger. You also want to look at it from the side and make sure there's no gap around your cuticle area and at the free edge of your natural nail. You want the nail tip to blend seamlessly from the nail bed area down to the free edge. You'll also want to double check to make sure that there's no polygel on your skin and that the area where the polygel meets your natural nail is very smooth. You'll also want to look down the barrel of the nail and carve out the C curve. This will prevent the nail from being too thick, which is a common problem for the Lazy Girl method. After the nail looks good from all angles, do a full 1 minute cure under the UV LED lamp. I would also highly recommend that you fully cure the underside of the nail as well. I'm going to repeat the same step for all of the other nails. The Lazy Girl method is very similar to applying polygel with dual forms. However, after you cure your nail, you do not pop off the full cover nail tip. Because there's less steps, this method is a lot quicker than the dual form method. This hand took me a total of 45 minutes. I was recording, so it did take a little bit longer than I have done previously. Normally, to do a solid color manicure with the Lazy Girl method, it takes me about 28 minutes. That's very quick. I absolutely love this method and want to thank Femi Beauty for creating it. After a few nails, you will get the hang of how much polygel you need to put into the full cover nail tip. If you find that you're having to remove a lot of the polygel because you put too much, you can just place that polygel into the next nail tip so you don't waste any polygel. There is also ways that you can encapsulate glitter, nail stickers, and other decorations into the nail tip. If you would like to see this type of video, make sure to comment down below and let us know. If you have a crooked finger like my pinky, the nail tip may look crooked. It's even more apparent if your nails are long. So to fix this issue before you cure your nail, you want to take the nail tip and turn it in the opposite direction. If you look at only your nail, it will appear crooked, but when you take a step back, your nail is going to look straight with the other nails. After all of the nails are cured, I'm going to take a lint-free wipe with some alcohol and remove the sticky layer from the back of my nails. Because the jelly tip is on the top, the sticky layer from the polygel is only on the bottom of the nail. Next, I'm going to take a small hand file and I'm going to reshape the tip of the nail. Because these jelly tips are pre-shaped, you don't need to do that much filing to get them perfect. Again, you want to make sure that the sidewalls are completely straight with the nail bed area. If you push the skin down on the side of your nail, you may notice some polygel that spilled out from underneath the nail. This is a very common problem with the lazy girl method. It's very easy to fix, all you have to do is file it down to match the jelly tip. You may also want to file the underside of the nail tip like this, just to make sure that the nail is even. The next step is to file around the cuticle area. This is optional, but I find it makes the nail tip look a lot more natural. You can do this with a hand file, however I like to use an e-file. So I'm going to switch over to my Bellavina portable e-file, and I'm using a small cuticle bit to file around my cuticles. I am using a speed of about 6,000 RPMs. You just want to file around the cuticle area just to blend in the nail tip. Again, this step is optional, but it does make your nails look a lot more natural. After all of the nails have been filed, I'm going to take a lint-free wipe with some alcohol and clean up all of the dust. The next step is to take the top coat and apply this to all of the nails and cure for 1 minute. This would complete your lazy girl method manicure. However, I am going to be adding a design to these nails. I am going to be using the Bellavina Super White Gel Polish. I'm going to place a little bit of this gel onto a piece of paper and pick up my super fine nail art brush. I'm going to be creating a V-tip design. I just started by drawing a straight line from about the center of the free edge and took that line back to the corner of the nail bed area. After I drew the line, I'm going to fill that in and perfect any mistakes. I want to make sure that I have a very straight line from the corner of the nail bed area all the way down to the tip of the nail. Once I have one side completed, I'm going to go ahead and do the same step on the other side of the nail. You want to make sure that the point of the V-tip design is straight and lined up with your finger. You also want to make sure that the sides of the gel polish are very even and as straight as you can get them. I am flash curing in between each nail just to make sure that I don't mess it up. I'm going to go ahead and do the same design on all of my other nails. After all of the nails are cured, I'm going to take the top coat and apply a good thick layer to all of the nails. Once the top coat is applied, I'm going to do a full 1-minute cure under the UV LED lamp. After the nails are cured, I'm going to take the cuticle oil, which is number 6, and apply this to all of the cuticles. And here are how the nails turned out. I really love this design. They're so simple and elegant. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and you learned something new. If you want to see more videos, you can click the boxes and subscribe here to see more from Double Dip. You can also subscribe to my personal nail channel by clicking the circle here.